Members of violent white supremacist website exposed in massive data dump.
Here's a summary of the article.
The 1 GB SQL database appears to contain the entirety of the site's information, including usernames, private messages, public posts, registered email addresses, and IP addresses. Private messages show some members discussing life in the U.S. Marines, Navy, Army, and military reserves. The fascist vision he espoused was critical even of the alt-right movement that gained visibility after the election of Donald Trump, the SPLC said, citing a review of more than 150,000 public Iron March posts it scraped from September 2011 to September 2017. Several violent neo-Nazi paramilitary fascist groups were organized on the forums, including, the Antipodean Resistance and the Atomwaffen Division. Fields, the SPLC said, had marched at the rally as a member of a group called Vanguard America, which descended from another Iron March group. While the SPLC had already obtained all or at least most of Iron March's public posts, the trove posted Wednesday is sure to offer a much more complete, and likely incriminating, picture of one of the Internet's most sordid forums. The ability for researchers, law enforcement investigators, and others to cross-reference IP addresses, email addresses, and private and public posts is likely to shine a bright light into a nether region that thrives on darkness.
This post received a score of 20,472, with an upvote ratio of 93%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Reminds me of when clan lists would get exposed. And it's always people in positions of power. Cops, politicians, pillars of the community who were wearing the white sheets. I'll be curious to see if those societal roles will still be present as this list is disseminated and members identified. Edit, for those that want an example, here's a pretty good one. Opening square bracket.
Catholics chased the KKK out of Chicago in the 1920s by publishing their names. The secret order's demise in Chicago was largely the result of the work of the American Unity League, a mostly Roman Catholic organization which published a weekly newspaper, Tolerance, in 1922 and 1923 that printed the names, addresses, and occupations of thousands of Chicago-area Klansmen. The tactic worked, and by 1925 the Ku Klux Klan had almost disappeared from Chicago.
Then in the 80s there were the Illinois Nazis who were run out of town by Jake and Elwood.
The FBI also hired a mafia enforcer in 60s Chicago to help find missing bodies disposed of by the KKK by threatening the shit out of KKK members. Linda Shiro told the court it was her boyfriend, Gregory Scarpa, who had kidnapped a Klansman, put a gun in his mouth and forced him to reveal the spot where the three had been buried. The FBI until that point had been engaged in a fruitless search for the civil rights workers, facing silence from the Klansmen and the white community in general.
Scarpa was a crazy son of a bitch, but his did have this on his resume. But it's like one tick in the pro column trying to offset hundreds of con ticks.
They're bad guys, but there are bad guys. Sammy the Bull Gravano.
The sound off of every tribalist is today. For those with a flair for investigation and data mining, Bellingcat have set up a forum for analyzing the data trove here.
I perused the CSV yesterday. Some people used their public school email accounts. Behold the master race.
How to ruin your life, 101. 1. Register on a neo-Nazi website. 2. Using your .edu email address. 3. Wait for the data to become public.
I may be wrong, but if a .edu email address belongs to an employee, then the contents of that email account can be obtained by a Freedom of Information request. We get warned all the time not to use our .edu work email for private correspondence for that reason.
True story, just did my orientation at a university. HR was very insistent on that point.
I served in the Army and Iraq. The prevalent racism in the military culture doesn't help our cause at all while we are over there. Really hope they make examples of these jerks, put them in their place and cleanse the military and law enforcement of this toxic culture.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.